Well, the offseason has begun for all 30 teams. Let's kick things off with a Mailbag Monday. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. This is Ty Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone, and on there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/control the zone. Link in the description of this episode. Let's open up the mailbag and answer some of your Mariners questions like we do here every Monday. And by the way, at the end of the show, we'll be spinning the Helm and Ed Helms for our Top 5 Tuesday topic. So if you want to know what's coming your way tomorrow, be sure to stick around for that. Darren McCacken Enjoyer is going to kick us off here on Mailbag Monday. Wants to know, with the World Series over, who on the 40-man do you see stay on the 40-man? Who you see being non-tendered, outrighted, DFA'd, etc.? Anyone in the farm that needs to be added to protect from the Rule 5? If so, do you protect them or not? Love the show. We love Ty and Colby, not Darren McCacken. Ty and Colby have a place. No, I like the order that it was.
I mean, I guess we'll start with the easy one, the Rule 5 protections, right?
Yeah.
So who's eligible this year, Ty?
So everyone from the 2021 draft class, that's the easiest place to start here. But obviously the biggest names from that draft class, Harry Ford, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, they're all on the roster already, so you don't have to worry about them. So from that class, it's more like Michael Morales, Spencer Packard, Colin Davis, Jimmy Joyce, guys like that. Morales and Packard, I could see potentially. There's also some stragglers like Tyler Cleveland, who had a pretty good year this year. He's Rule 5 eligible. Victor Labrada has had a solid last couple of years down in the minors, and he seems pretty close to getting a cup of coffee in the majors. He seems like fourth, fifth outfield type. He's someone that I could definitely see get drafted in the Rule 5 by someone.
Yeah.
Like a Rockies or a White Sox or someone like that. I could definitely see them taking a flyer on Labrada. So I think that's it. I might be missing someone, but that's all that I found researching for this question. So is there anyone that I mentioned that you would add to the roster?
I thought Labrada maybe. By the way, the Mariners right now, their 40-man is only at 37. And that's including the 260-man guys getting added. So they don't actually have to DFA anybody. And that also does include doesn't include Garber. That counts for them declining his option. So they'll be at 37. Right now they're technically at 35 while they decide on the option for Munoz. Obviously they'll pick that up. And the Polo thing, obviously they will decline that. Polo will decline that, we think. So it could be at 37. They could be at 36, but they don't have to DFA anybody right now. They're in fine shape that way. As for the Rule 5 or whatever, I think Morales is an interesting one. I could see a team try and snag him and use him as a number 5 starter, or at least see what he looks like in spring training, because you could always just give the player back. You don't have to keep him. But I don't think I would add him if I were the Mariners. He had a very mediocre year last year. His ceiling is probably a number 5 starter. It's not the worst idea in the world if they add him. It's not something I think they have to do, though. Victor Labrada, 4th outfield type, maybe. Like you said, I think you could see a team maybe snag him and try and sneak him through. Like, he's pretty good base runner. Started to develop a little bit of power. And there's always a couple relievers that are interesting. Tyler Cleveland, also Stephen Wraith, is pretty interesting as well. Both kind of side armors, decent performers in Double-A. Somebody might take a shot on them. Michael Hobbs, somebody's that might also be of interest. But yeah, I think really it comes down to it's Morales and it's Labrada. And maybe the Mariners protect one of their relievers, Wraith.
I think Cleveland is someone that a team might take a shot on.
I agree. In Seattle, I think they like him. So
Yeah.
I think if they do add anybody to protect him from the Rule 5, it'll probably be a reliever.
Yeah.
I think they're okay losing Morales. I think they're okay losing Victor Labrada, but there's some interesting calls here. Morales, that would be an interesting. That's going to be an interesting one, I think. But
Yeah,
it's probably the biggest name that you have to worry about in terms of like Rule 5s is Morales.
Looking at the Mariners ARB eligible players, you asked about guys that could potentially get non-tendered. We already kind of talked about this when we looked at the ARB projections 2 weeks ago. But yeah, Trent Thornton, like obviously he's going to get non-tendered coming off of his Achilles injury. I think they want to bring him back though, and oversee his recovery and all that. And obviously he's meant a lot to the clubhouse and all that. So I think they would want to keep Thorny involved in some way, but just not at 2.5 million, which is what he's projected to make. Taylor Saucedo at 1.1 million, probably going to get non-tendered. Jackson Kowar at 800K, maybe, but I think they just pay that. I mean, that's like 20,000 over the league minimum. So I think they just pay him that. So 2 guys at maximum, I think, get non-tendered, Sauce and Thornton. And then looking at the 40-man, looking at like who are the easiest levers to pull here. We do this every year. It's kind of like, once the 40-man gets filled, like, go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who the heck is Domingo Gonzalez?
They picked him up from Atlanta in like September off of waivers.
Okay, because
yeah,
I saw his picture on the floor. I was like, who is this?
Well, there you go. He's one of the guys here that once the 40-man is filled, and you're looking at like who's going to be a corresponding move here to make room for this guy that we just traded for, we just signed. Domingo Gonzalez is one of those guys. Blas Castano is another one of those guys. Jonathan Diaz, Troy Taylor, obviously, with the way that his year went, and then after hitting Dom Canzone in the scrimmage game before the ALDS.
Samad Taylor.
Yeah. Ryland Thomas. Yeah. I don't see too many like obvious guys on the position player front, but there also really aren't a lot of guys on the position player front on the 40-man in general.
No, I mean Jackson Kowar, Casey Legamina, also throw them on there. Like, yeah,
they're kind of like the second tier guys.
Yeah. The Mariners aren't in any danger of running out of room on the 40-man, so. Don't worry about it. Even like Ryan Bliss, they'll add Ryan Bliss back. They'll add, Santos, we assume. You can't imagine they're not going to tender Gregory Santos when he's basically going to get league minimum. So, yeah, but there's probably 6 or 7 guys right there that they could just cut and nobody would blink an eye or bat an eye twice at. So there's no real danger of somebody being squeezed off the 40-man that you're worried about.
All right. We will answer more of your questions here in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by FanDuel and Doer. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Man, I am super stoked about the new jeans I have arriving soon from Doer. I've heard the most amazing things about these jeans. I mean, I can't wait to wear them. Let me tell you why. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They're antibacterial, meaning your jeans stay fresh longer so you can wear more and wash less. And it's made with CoolMax, which keeps you cool and comfortable as temperatures change. Doer also combines the classic jeans wear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. So it really is the best of both worlds. And Doer are absolute pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim. So simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Get a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Go now to shopdoer.com/lockedonseattle. You'll get 15% off your first order. That's shopdoer.com/lockedonseattle for 15% off. Shopdoer.com/lockedonseattle. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. This Mailbag Monday. Let's get back into your questions. Switch wants to know, who are your untouchable prospects in a realistic trade sense? Just Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson? Yeah. I mean, like, obviously it depends on, what trade target we're talking about. But if we're talking about for 1 year of Tarek Skubal, for example, I'm not entertaining Anderson or Emerson in that deal. I'm willing to talk about anyone else, just not those two guys. Now, if it's for like a certifiable
Jose
perennial,
Ramirez.
if it's for a perennial all-star like MVP candidate type of player for like a couple of years at least of that guy, then sure, I'll talk about Colt Emerson and Cade Anderson.
Yeah, it's all relative. But I think just in the spirit of the question, like, who do we think might be available via trade this winter and all that, like, who's realistic? I wish I could say Jose Ramirez is on that list, but he's kind of a pipe dream. But it is Cleveland, so you can't rule it out entirely, but probably not. So short of like that type of player, I think it's Emerson. That might be it. And what if though it's like, we say you wouldn't even trade them for like 1 year of Tarek Skubal. What if it's Skubal and Spencer Torkelson or whatever? And then it's like, okay, well, that kind of changes things, But I think just in general, just playing somewhat in the realm of reality, I would say Emerson is definitely untouchable. Anderson, pretty likely untouchable.
Yeah.
And then I would really like to not trade Sloan or Farmelo, but I will. So I guess the answer is 1.5. Like, I guess
I'd say Anderson is firmly in the same category as Emerson.
I don't think he's in the same category. He's close. So like no more than 2 though. Like that's it. Those 2 guys. Everybody else I'm willing to entertain, as much as I would like to not trade Farmelo or Sloan. For the right player, I'll do it.
Seattle Surge wants to know, if Harry Ford stays put on the MLB roster, how will the Mariners actually utilize him? I would love to hear at some point over the course of this offseason, or maybe it's once everyone gets to spring training, that Harry Ford spent this winter working on his outfield defense, or maybe he works somewhere in the infield or something like that. Because right now, he's probably the backup catcher, but with his elite on-base skills that he put on display in the minors, that's potentially a bat that I'm going to want in the lineup pretty consistently, and not just on a backup catcher basis, especially when he's going to be behind the best catcher in all of baseball. So the more you can do, right, the better. And so if it winds up like, hey, like Harry Ford, actually, we feel comfortable that he can play multiple positions, and now we brought Mitch Garver back, or we've traded for some backup catcher to kind of fill that role more traditionally, that would be ideal to me.
Yeah. He's not going to be as good as this guy, but Dalton Varsho was a catcher.
Yeah.
Who turned himself into a premier defensive outfielder. Now, it's ridiculous to think like Harry Ford's a good enough athlete to do that, but like you shouldn't expect that. I'm just saying, like, the idea that you can't play catcher and play in the outfield, that's not true. Like, a very good example is Varsho. And to be fair, Varsho wasn't really that good of a defensive catcher anyways. Like, Harry's a better defensive catcher than Varsho was, but whatever. I would be shocked, honestly, if we don't get video at some point this winter, Harry Ford in a facility or Harry Ford in a, just, I mean, I think he lives in Georgia in the offseason, just out at a high school field, shagging fly balls, working on that. I'd be pretty surprised if we don't get that. So his primary role is going to be the backup catcher. But if he can hit a little bit, then I think the Mariners will want to move him around, try and get the bat in lineup more than they tried to get Mitch Garver. They're not going to do it via the DH. So I think you're going to see Harry learn how to play some corner outfield. And, right field is kind of a natural choice. You need a good athlete out there in right field in Seattle. Harry's got a really good arm. So, yeah, I think if he does survive, I think he'll be the primary backup, but he'll also get time in a corner outfield spot. I don't want to say regularly, but I think he probably plays 3-4 times a week, and maybe only one of those starts as a catcher.
Yeah.
But yeah, his primary focus will be as a backup catcher.
Dustin wants to know, is it weird thinking right field is more of a need than bullpen?
The thing I like, well, I don't want to say like, the thing we should remind ourselves is that when you get into July, right, and you get to the trade deadline, there are always outfielders available. There are always corner outfielders available, and they're always pretty cheap. Relievers, if you need like a premier high leverage reliever like the Mariners kind of did this deadline, it's going to cost you a lot, even if you only get them for 2 months. Like 2 months of an average right fielder is going to cost you Michael Morales. 2 months of a 7th, 8th, 9th inning guy is going to cost you Ty Pete and Teddy McGraw. It's just one of those things where it's more expensive. So I think for that reason, I would still prioritize the bullpen over the outfield, but they absolutely need help in both. There's no question about it. They should set out to try and do both. But if I had to pick big time bullpen upgrade, big time right field upgrade, I'd rather take the bullpen arm, because if the probable platoon of Canzone or Rayleigh and Robles should fail in right field, I'm going to be able to go out and get a, whatever. Trying to think of a corner out. Harrison Bader. I'll be able to go get that guy at the deadline, because Harrison Bader types are available every year. Cedric Mullins, another one. So, yeah, I think for that reason, I'd still prioritize, but I think you're right to point out that right field is a need, because I think it is.
Yeah, it is. It is, because right now, with how the roster is set, just like today, and obviously this might very well change, but today, like Dom Canzone, who is by far your best hitting right fielder in 2025, he's your DH. All right, we have a few more of your questions to answer here in just a moment, but first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Gametime. NFL season is back, and there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. It's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. It's Mailbag Monday. Let's get back into your questions. A Rayleigh fan wants to know who is most likely to have a big bounce back year out of all the injured Mariners from this past season. Well, considering your name, I assume that you're hoping that we say Luke Rayleigh, which is very possible, considering
Correct
that Luke Rayleigh was.
Miller.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Thanks, Colby. I was, getting there.
Let's just cut the BS. Let's just answer the question. Bryce Miller is the answer.
Yeah, Bryce Miller. It's so easy because he has the lowest bar to clear, and we already kind of saw the bounce back start to happen in the postseason. But yeah, it could be Rayleigh. It could also be Rayleigh because Rayleigh was awesome in 2023 and 2024, and he had to deal with oblique and back issues all year long. Like, yeah, of course. So it's very easy to point to that and go, like, that's just a lost year.
He also has a whole off season to get his eyesight fixed. Remember the whole thing about wearing glasses, and he was picking up too much spin then, and he felt like that hurt him actually, which weird, but whatever. So it does feel like Rayleigh's a pretty good bet to bounce back to some degree, but also the Mariners might move on from him. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I kind of hope not, but also it makes sense. So whatever. But yeah, the answer is Bryce. I suppose technically, could we pick Kirby and Gilbert?
Yes, of course.
Because they didn't end the year hurt, but I guess neither did Bryce technically. So
neither did Bryce, and Bryce isn't getting surgery either. So
yeah, the answer is Bryce.
Yeah, it's very easily Bryce, but yeah, you could easily say Logan, you could easily say George, you could say Luke Rayleigh. There are quite a few good options for this.
Let me throw you a dark horse for this one.
Okay.
Matt Brash.
Sure.
A full year removed from Tommy John is typically when guys get all the way back.
Sure. Yeah.
Just Brash was good this year. Certainly had some moments though. But yeah, I think the answer is Bryce Miller.
Aaron wants to know, does Logan need to ditch the splitter, at least throw it less? Seemed to me that his inability to consistently locate that pitch led to the long at-bats and inefficiency, or I could be completely wrong because it is nasty. No, I think the issue is pretty clearly the slider.
Yeah.
It's a pitch that got smoked. I think opponents they slugged over 500 against it this year. And that's because he just can't locate it well. The splitter generated a 50% whiff rate this year.
You're not ditching that.
Yeah, no.
Could you rework the pitch mix a little bit to throw it a little bit less? Because we do know splitters are, it's believed that splitters are really tough on the elbow. And we know that Logan has an elbow issue. So could he throw it less? Sure, but then he needs to have another secondary pitch because really that's the only one he had because the slider was terrible. So yeah, either he needs to fix the slider or he needs to come up with a curve ball or something. He needs to, rework the knuckle curve back into his arsenal, whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's the breaking balls that are the problem here. And also fastball command could be a little bit better, but I am willing to attribute some of his command. It's funny to say a guy had command issues when he had a sub 2 base on ball per 9, but he did. He didn't always put the ball where he wanted it.
Well, command issues go both ways, right? It could lead to walks, or it could just lead to pitches getting left over the heart of the plate, like he did often with the slider, which again led to the 500 plus slugging percentage against it.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to ditch the splitter. I think he needs to find a breaking ball, a good one. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, so before we get out of here, we're gonna spin the helm and the Ed Helms for our top 5 Tuesday topics for tomorrow's episode. Last week, obviously, Colby tackled the helm topic, which was the top 5 storylines for the Mariners heading into the offseason. I tackled the Ed Helms topic, which was top 5 Mariners hats. So we're gonna switch roles this week. I'm gonna tackle the helm. So let's see what I'll be doing tomorrow. Spin that wheel.
Easy, say, Jack.
Reasons for optimism in 2026. That's definitely a topic that I should tackle rather than Colby. I think that's pretty fitting.
I think that's disrespectful. Boy, but you sure got a hard list, didn't you?
Yeah.
Reasons for optimism for a team that just went to Game 7 of the ALCS and is scheduled to bring back all of its key players. Well, most of its key players.
Well,
yeah, Naylor and Polo are coming back. I'm not worried about it.
All right, so now let's spin the Ed Helms for Colby's topic tomorrow. See what you get. Looking like, this one you came up with. Home run props. So things like the Trident, the Blue Jays jacket, all that stuff, for example.
Boy, I wonder what number 1 will be.
I kind of feel like you should do a list where the Trident is excluded, but
What might number one?
I mean, the Trident is like unequivocally number one. Spoiler alert. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe I'll do a top 6, so you get the
Sure
6 through 2, and then the Trident will definitely be 1.
And that's going to do it for our show. Again, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 reasons to be optimistic heading into 2026 for the Mariners, and the top 5 home run props coming from Colby. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.